Madam Deputy Speaker, I give notice that I will move under Standing Order 112 that the Premier no longer enjoys the confidence of this House, given 1. She turned a blind eye to corruption in her government by failing to report her knowledge of Daryl Maguire's business dealings for 6.5 years, even after his resignation from Parliament in July 2018. 2. Failed to report a number of discussions she had with Daryl Maguire over a number of years about his business dealings, including congratulating him on the amount of commission he was earning from his business deals. 3. Failed to fulfil her legal obligations under the Independent Commission Against Corruption Act to report corrupt conduct, and her obligations under the Ministerial Code of Conduct to manage conflicts of interest in her government. And 4, has failed to uphold any standard of propriety across all levels of her government.
Well, I can't hear anything. Thank you, Member for Maud Stevens. I'm waiting for silence. The notice will be considered in The notice will be considered in accordance with the relevant standing orders. I announce that no notice of motion for a public interest debate was submitted for today by the government. Consequently, there is no public interest debate today. Are there any questions?
Madam Deputy Speaker.
Leader of the Opposition.
Madam Deputy Speaker, my question is to the Premier. Premier, given your legal obligation to report corruption under the Independent Commission Against Corruption Act, why did you fail to report Daryl Maguire's actions despite knowing of his business dealings with property developers for 6.5 years? Why, Premier, did you not
You've asked the question. Leader of the Opposition.
It is your legal responsibility. Why did
Leader
you not
of the Opposition,
act?
resume your seat.
Point of order.
Leader of the House on a point of order.
The question contravenes Standing Order 128. It contains argument about what is a legal opinion or legal obligation and is objectionable on that basis.
So you're going to close it down.
Order.
A protection racket.
Wow. Wow. Surely...
No. Member for Kira, I'm waiting for silence. Did you have... The Premier is happy to answer the question. You have no point of order? And in future, you wait till you're called before you come to the lectern. The Premier has...
Oh my God.
I would ask that this unparliamentary conversation cease immediately in order. I was not... I didn't direct my comments to anyone in particular, Member for Port Stephens, so you're being a little bit presumptuous. I was making a general comment about unparliamentary comments in this chamber. The Premier has the call. She will be heard in silence. Premier.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, and I acknowledge the question of the Opposition, and she's entitled to ask me on these questions. The public and the Opposition and every member of this place deserves to know that their Premier at all times has upheld
You haven't done that.
Leader of the Opposition. Leader of the Opposition. Premier, you have the call.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. As I said, the Leader of the Opposition is entitled absolutely to ask me any question in this place regarding my activities as the Premier, because it is in the public interest for the public to know their Premier has at all times made sure that she or he has fulfilled their obligations in relation to all matters, whether it's in the public interest and whether it's...
Order. Order. Member for Kira, you're on a call.
Whether it's in the public interest whether it's in enforcing the various codes and regulations for which I'm responsible, the various codes and regulations for which this parliament, which every member is accountable to this parliament. I want to state unequivocally, Madam Deputy Speaker, that at all times I've acted in accordance with the highest levels of accountability.
Order! Order!
The percentage he was giving.
You think if you say it, it will be true?
Leader of the Opposition, you asked a question of the Premier. Do you want to hear the answer? You will sit here in silence and listen now you've asked the question. The Premier has the call. I have no hesitation in using 249A this afternoon. The Premier has the call.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. And as I was finishing that statement, at all times I've undertaken the full letter of my responsibilities in accordance with those obligations, legal or otherwise, because that is what a Premier does. I want to state...
Order. Order.
And I also want to state the following. That each member of this place knows his and her obligations according to their responsibilities and their interests. And it is the expectation that every member...
Order. The Premier will be heard in silence. If you don't want to ask the question, don't ask them to her. I want to hear the answer. Premier.
Thank you. And as I was about to say in conclusion, Madam Deputy Speaker, that I think everybody would argue whether or not they choose to support me or believe me, that I was full and frank in my evidence yesterday. I've remained...
Order. Member for Bankstown. Order. Member for Kira, you're already on a call.
I've been full and frank in relation to every question I've been asked, and I will continue...
Order. 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 All members, please.
Madam Speaker, I will continue to be full and frank, and Madam Deputy Speaker, I wish to say that at all times I have and always will put the public interest first.